It
saying
should be a final at the very least if we get through this. When you look at the way the tournament's lined up, if you got Sweden, Ukraine, come on, Netherlands, Czech Republic, Wales, or Denmark. I'm sorry if we get through this and we don't get to a final.
I think it is time to get on to Germany. England do have Germany in the round of 16, the last 16. Obviously, we know that's England's massive foe in these tournaments. And they haven't looked convincing, I'll be honest. You know, their first game, they did, and then I don't know what kind of happened. They scraped through against Hungary. You know, that's come from behind twice in that game to make sure they got through. But we know the Germans, that's what they do. You know, they're very industrial. They make sure they get the job done one way or another. This game now against England is at Wembley. There's going to be more fans there. We topped our group. They didn't. Surely the momentum's in our favour now.
Even for me, Craig.
I'm trying to put the positive thing on it for you, Rory.
I think Craig's right, you know. I think
even for the optimist in the group, that's a little bit.
I'm talking about momentum. I'm not saying necessarily we're going to win. I'm saying the momentum should be with us. We topped our group. They just about got through. We're at home. We've got way more fans there. There's no real excuse to not beat Germany right now.
I think this Germany team is better than people give them credit for. But Craig is right. With the team that England have, we should be going into this game thinking we're beating these lot. But we're not, because of the way that we've said. I think
the way we're playing,
because of what we've seen before. Like, I think the way we're playing has got us going into this game thinking, well, actually, it's dangerous. Now, what worries me in this game is how will Southgate set up? Because if will he go to match up with them, play the back three and two wing backs? Will he play the back four and hope Declan Rice can drop in as a third centre half when needed? Because if we play a back four against their wing backs and they've got, who is it? Goossens and Kimmich, I think. Might be wrong on the names. But if they got Goossen and Kimmich coming into those positions from wing back, they're going to have bags of space just in front of the defence. And Scotland kind of did that against England with less success, but they did play well. And that's what would worry me. Does he change? Like you said, we don't need to change formation. Does he change to match up with them? Or does he go with Declan Rice sitting?
Well, this is what I want to ask both of you. I'll start with you, Rory. Who is going to be your free? Who is going to be your free behind Kane for this game?
I think, okay, do you know I'm going to have to be fairly annoying here first and ask you a question to answer your question.
Go on.
Do you think Mason Mount can play in this game? I know he can play, but the issue is that he hasn't been able to train with his teammates. So how significant do you think training away from your squad is?
For that amount of time, not very.
Yeah, not right now. Such a short space of time right now.
And I don't think that Craig will know more. He's been around for a tournament with the England camp, but I don't think they work that much on its recovery and all those kind of things. So doing that separately, is it that big of a deal, you know, in between games? Like, I think as long as they can get the tactical instruction that they need. And I actually think Mason Mount could be vital to this game, because I think Grealish, you're not going to start him in the 10. If you're going to start him, it's at the left. I probably think Grealish, I wouldn't. Everyone knows my opinions on Jack Grealish. I think he's one of the best players in the Premier League. Has to start. I don't think he's going to start this game. I think it will be Saka and possibly Mason Mount, who will drop deeper into that midfield, because you got Goretzka potentially coming in, Cruz and or Gundogan.
See, so if
you can't just play with Rice and Phillips.
Now, if we agree that Mason Mount is open for selection here, then I think Mount will be one of the three that you're referring to, Craig, behind Kane, because he will help. He, out of all of the players that can play that position, he is the one that will do the most amount of defensive work. He's the one that will help Declan Rice the most. So I think Mount plays. I then think Raheem Sterling plays. And I'm then inclined to say that Phil Foden comes back behind Kane. which I think is very good.
So the original one that he started the Croatia game with, essentially that attack.
Yeah, that's the originals, isn't it? I think the originals are back.
Wouldn't that be?
What has Foden done to warrant starting?
This is the thing. This is what I was going to say. Wouldn't that be super controversial? Because a lot of people, after the way Grealish and Saka performed in that game.
Sorry, Addo, just to let everyone know, the game that I thought we were playing is who is Gareth Southgate going to pick, not necessarily who am I.
Oh, okay. No, I want to know who you would pick.
So mine would be as we were, but I would then play Jack Grealish instead of Phil Foden.
So it'll be Mount instead of Saka. So it'll be Mount and Grealish. You'd have Sancho and Grealish, Adam.
Sancho, Grealish. I think Mount has to play. See, that's the thing. But based on what's gone ahead, Sterling will start ahead of Sancho. So like Sancho isn't starting this game, but against this German team, up against players he comes up against maybe you could argue they know his game, but the way that if Germany attack us and we sit back, there's going to be so much space for those players, whether it's Sterling, Sancho. I just think Sancho could be so good on the counter.
I mean, I'm looking at the team on paper here. It is pretty crazy. You know, you've got the likes of Muller, Havertz, Kroos, Gundogan, Rudiger, Hummels, Ginter, Kimmich. I mean, on paper, it is actually a scary team. So I don't know why it hasn't really clicked as much for them so far in the group stage. Sane's there, yeah. He hasn't really been performing this well.
You know what happened? He tried to
move as well.
He tried to move Muller and all that out of the team, didn't he? And he tried to go younger, and then it didn't work, and he's gone back to them. So I think it's kind of unsettled. But was it Portugal that battered? It can happen.
Do you know what? I could see Southgate, and I'm going to say Southgate and Holland because, like you said, Adam, I was around the camp and I just saw how much of an influence Steve Holland has. You know, Gareth Southgate, I like to call Steve Holland the brains of the operation. Southgate's almost like the front man. You know, he selects the squad. He's great man management. He's that type of guy. But when it comes to tactics and knowing what's going on, Steve Holland is that guy, and that is why he was so successful at Chelsea. One thing I'll say is I think for this type of game, I could see us playing three at the back for this type of game. I think maybe only two attackers might get the nod behind Kane for this one.
Do you think England can be pragmatic enough to do that? Do you think we can change our shape as easily as that?
Well, he's played three at the back a lot as well throughout the last year as well. So he's been alternating between, 4-2-3-1 and a three at the back. So they know how to play it. I think Kyle Walker, Stones and Maguire in a three is comfortable. You got Kyle, the right of that three. And I just feel like he's been pragmatic anyway against lesser opposition. I could just see against a team like Germany, him trying to have that five at the back reassurance, unfortunately. I know people want to see us on the ball and taking it to them. But with Southgate,
I disagree now. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think that people demanded that, of which I'm one of these people. I think people demanded against Scotland, against the Czech Republic, especially those two games. That's where we want to see England offensive, gung-ho, exciting, intimidating, aggressive, all of that. I don't now play those two defensive midfielders. Play three at the back. Do what you have to do now. Now is a time when I think that we have full justification in sitting back, doing what we have to do, and let's nick a set piece. Germany are good. Look, I think Germany are very good. We watched them destroy Portugal. They didn't look great against Hungary, I concede. But I even think in the game against France, where they lost 1-0, the fact that they then beat Germany, what was it? The fact that they then beat Portugal 4-2 shows you that they were really good. And all that 1-0 defeat to France does really is flag how good France are rather than how bad Germany are. So I think that Germany are going to be like very up for this. I know that England are favourites, but I think that's more to do with home advantage than anything we've seen on the pitch. Germany are top level, like gladiators of a top tier opposition. England need a bit of luck and any tactics that work. It isn't about the expansive game anymore.
All right. Well, I got to end it by asking your score predictions. You lot know how this goes. Adam, I got to ask you, man. I'm getting you on camera to say this. What do you think the prediction is going to be for this one?
You know what? I was worried about getting France or Portugal. And although I sound a bit pessimistic and I'm a bit wary. I do think this presents the best opportunity of those three to going through. And I'm not going to sit here and predict a Germany win. So I'm going to go 1-0 England after extra time.
Another 1-0 after extra time.
It'd be interesting to see which team commits, because Germany have conceded a few goals, and I think they're going to think, all right, let's chill here because these are dangerous. We don't want to give the space in behind. Czech Republic, Croatia, Scotland, they all showed if you sit back, England find it difficult. So will they overcommit? And then will England? It's going to be pretty.
Will this be the game Harry Kane gets off his mark? Will it be? People are losing their patience with him.
It's got to be Craig. It's got to be Sterling again.
Sterling again. What do you say, Rory? What's your prediction and who's scoring?
I'm going 1-0, but 90 minutes. I think it's got 1-0 written all over it to England.
Who's getting that goal?
Sterling.
You're going to go Sterling as well?
I'm going to go Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish.
Are you going to go Grealish?
And then it will put his price tag up to 200 million and City can't do anything.
They'll buy him anyway, mate.
I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna go 2-1 England. I was gonna go penalties, but I just thought we don't beat the Germans on penalties, so we don't want to do that. I'm gonna go 2-1 in extra time. And I do think
Southgate's story though, after him missing the penalty and that.
Well, but mate, I think that's what this is. This is Southgate exercising the demons of 1996. This is Southgate having the opportunity to write that. Remember all that? Cheers for heroes dressed in grey and that. Hopefully the Germans will be dressed in grey, and the tears will be for them.
If we do manage to beat Germany and knock them out, what would be Euro fever would be going through the roof then? I mean, literally, are you both going to be saying it's coming home then if we manage to beat the Germans?
It should be a final at the very least if we get through this. When you look at the way the tournament's lined up, you got Sweden, Ukraine, come on. Netherlands, Czech Republic, Wales, or Denmark. I'm sorry, if we get through this and we don't get to a final.
Boys, man, it's been an absolute pleasure. You know what it is. Thank you, Adam and Rory, for joining us, man, here on the Eurosocial. We'll see you again next time. People, make sure you subscribe, drop the video a like, and obviously cheer on the boys, man. Let's make sure it's coming home.